Some good situational work in the day, some 2-minute scenarios, 4-minute, get the ball back, coming out with our offense and defense. Thought guys competed, saw it really go both ways, really evenly. Some explosive plays on offense, some good stops on D. Certainly a lot of room for improvement, but we'll open it up for questions from there.
With a chance to look back at the tape from Saturday's scrimmage stuff, anything more stand out to you on film that not at first glance?
No, not really. I mean, just there's a lot of work for us still to do, a lot of room for improvement.
Any update on Dante Manning?
Yeah, right now he has an injury, going through recovery right now. We don't think it'll be a long-term deal, but obviously we're monitoring it, and his safety's first.
What do you look for in your deep safeties? Like, what sort of skill set do you prioritize there?
I like them all. I like all the skill sets, right? Be able to play the ball, be able to run fast, be able to cover in the man slot, be able to blitz. So I don't know if you would prioritize one over the other than at the end of the day, we want to be great communicators, right? They have to be able to understand our system and get us in the right checks and calls and prevent explosive plays.
You're in the latter half of spring now. How much are you still installing that's new? How much are you reinforcing? What's the balance there?
Yeah, very little new install, maybe 1 to 2 calls a day, some situational stuff. But more than anything, we're trying to let our guys line up and play and get better at the techniques we want to execute. Maybe a little window dressing here and there, but not much beyond that.
When you were in the staff were evaluating the running back position in particular, just because you were losing some really experienced guys who are a little bit less so or coming off injury, was who you're inheriting. What did you see from that group, in particular from Sean, who had obviously coming off injury, or Byron, who just had some limited opportunities last year?
Yeah, I think what you saw is that, some limited opportunities. This spring's been really huge for both those guys to get an opportunity to go out there and compete. I think we knew what they had, from a talent standpoint before, but hadn't gotten really see them open up at this level. So they're seeing a lot more, snaps, a lot more carries, a lot more touches this spring than maybe they've seen in the past, and it's been exciting to see what they do with those.
How does Noah's addition into that room maybe
help?
Big
plus. I mean, Noah's a worker. He's very explosive, runs really hard. Plays with a different type of effort, which is one of those things you don't ever want to spend your time coaching. You get to coach the details with Noah because he runs so hard and plays so hard.
Sean certainly had practice, but again, didn't play. So when you were looking even in practice film, when fans are looking at it going like they haven't seen a guy in almost 2 years, what have you seen in practice so far here in this spring, and what can fans expect to see in about 10 days or so of the spring game from a guy who they're excited about, but they just haven't seen him in a while?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a little wait-and-see mode, right? I think Sean's got great vision. He's got the ability to move in space, catches the ball out of the backfield. Just excited to see how that all come together for him.
A couple weeks ago, Ty was really complimentary about Dante had stepped up. Dante Thornton had stepped up as a leader. Can you maybe speak to what you've seen from him in that regard?
More than anything, just Dante works. I think guys respect how hard a guy works. I think Dante would be the first one to tell you, hey, I know there's some things I want to keep getting better at. But I think that's one thing that Ty notices is how hard Dante works.
Talking about Coach Lockton a little bit. A couple months ago, we saw a video of the FaceTime you had with him, where you got several of his former players on the phone to kind of talk about the job. What was that process like for you, and how meaningful was that to be able to have that experience with him?
Yeah, Locke was a guy that always stood out to me as a coach. Been a big fan of his for a long time, and more than anything, I've noticed how players respond to him. You can see, obviously, on that video, the connection that he has with his guys. And like we've said from the beginning, we're going to be about relationships and development, and Locke takes a lot of pride in having great relationships with his players.
Coach, what went into the decision to move Seven to wide receiver? Was it a joint decision, or was something trigger that decision like before?
We're always just going to take our players and put them in the best position to help our team. Seven's a dynamic guy that can line up, at wideout and line up in the backfield, and we want to be able to use him.
When you were searching the transfer portal for a wide receiver, what made you land on Chase Code as a guy for this program?
Ultimately, I think Chase has played in this league, has some serious, experience in this league, familiarity with this place and the place that he wanted to be. I think appealed to him, so it was just kind of a perfect match.
When you were looking at Bennett Williams and what he had done both at Illinois and here, do you consider him a natural box safety, or do you think he could also be a deep guy for you?
I think he can do a little bit of both. I definitely think, and like we said before, we're training guys at multiple positions, but Bennett's not a guy that can just play one spot, which, his intelligence helps him with that more than anything.
We saw a lot from Byron Carter last year, but this year he's got more of a chance to step up, a lot of reps open up in that position. What have you seen from him, his growth over the past couple months, few weeks?
Today he had a couple dynamic runs that were really, fun to see. And that wasn't necessarily blocked the way that he wanted it to be, and he still made something out of nothing. And that's what I continue to look for from Byron, is running hard, second level, second effort, pushing it down the field and then catching the ball at the backfield. I think that's something we really want to, see from him.
haven't asked you much about a lot of the injured guys for the spring, for good reason. I mean, after a while, but with Justin Flo in particular, just because that was a fall injury about 8-9 months ago. Just what's the timeline for him? Is there any chance he sees the field here this spring?
Yeah, he's trending back. I don't know. It's probably too early to say one way or the other if we're going to see him out there for the spring game, but he's trending back. We're getting him in a little bit of drill work each day.
What's it like for you watching those? You mentioned like 4-minute, 2-minute. In years past, you probably had a rooting interest when you were watching a drill like that. What's your perspective on situational work like that now?
It's practice for the players, but it's practice for me. So I'm sitting here thinking about, okay, when do we want to use a timeout, or how will we use a timeout? What's the situation? Is the clock stopped? Is it not? And just more than anything, me coaching the coaches and me coaching myself, opportunity for me to get better. So I'll go back and evaluate the film of our execution. Today our goal was to get a first down on offense. They did that in the 4-minute scenario, but then defense turned around and stopped them in 2 minutes, which is big. So really just trying to coach that for me more than anything, that same situation.
Can you point to a specific play this camp where like it was just an amazing play in space, or anything that you just like kind of thought to yourself like, wow, I get to coach this guy, or like, I get to coach this group?
I can't right now, no.
How do you think Triquez has, made that move into the interior safety from outside corner?
Yeah, and Triquez, just like every guy that I've kind of talked to in the back end, he's playing a lot of safety, but he's a guy that will play a corner for us as well, will play multiple spots. I think Triquez has proven right now that he's one of our playmakers. He's a guy that can, make plays in the back end. Certainly has, room for growth like every one of our guys do, but Triquez has done a good job of embracing that.
In your 9 practices with Christian Gonzalez, he came over from Colorado. What have you seen from him?
Competitive toughness. The guy plays hard. He competes regardless of drill. Very coachable. Doesn't say a lot, but does his job, consistently.
Adrian said the offensive line's not going to rotate nearly as much as they previously had another staff. He said that builds continuity and consistency with the group. Have you seen that start to play off with guys not rotating as much?
Well, we're still moving guys around right now, at least in the spring, because I think you have to have a plan in place in case one part changes, one moving part changes. So, we probably don't have the continuity we will when we get to game day, but I understand that thought process.
There's one a little off the beaten path, admittedly, but a couple of your support guys have put out this image of a new rendering of the indoor that had a couple of the outdoor fields still. So it was this, but fans got all excited about it because to do that, to have a second outdoor field with the new indoor would mean some kind of reconstruction over there. Are you aware of, is that real? Is that to scale, or is that still being determined? I
think the plans are still being adjusted as we speak, but yeah, there's plans to obviously still have outdoor fields here.
2 of them?
Last question. Coach, during your time here, first head coaching gig, what have you learned about yourself as a coach, just being the overseer of a bunch of different guys, some of them you've worked with before, and then some of them that you're new to?
Yeah, again, I think I've said this a few times. I just need to be myself, operate within what I know and the framework. I'm looking to be coached just as much as the players are. I'm looking for opportunities of growth for me, right? I don't think I have it all figured out, and I think I hired some really good coaches here to help us get better. So it's a collaborative effort. It's not just me. It's our players. It's the whole group, and I'm enjoying it, man. I'm really having fun every single day going out there and competing myself, and then also seeing our team compete.